Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something we've all encountered at some point, those complicated relationships that challenge us, stretch us, and sometimes leave us wondering what just happened. I'm talking about interactions with narcissistic personalities. Let's take a moment to unpack this. You're wrong seems like such a simple, straightforward phrase, but for someone with narcissistic tendencies, those two little words are like a match to dry kindling. It's not just about being incorrect, it's about what being wrong means to them. For many of us, being wrong is just a part of life. It's how we learn, how we grow. But for narcissists, being wrong can feel like a threat to their identity. It challenges the image of perfection they work so hard to project to the world. To them, admitting fault or error might mean admitting they're flawed or vulnerable, and that's something they often can't handle. So what happens when you say you're wrong? Usually it triggers one of two responses. Defensiveness, they might double down on their position, even if it's clear they're mistaken. Facts, evidence, logic, it all goes out the window because their goal isn't to find the truth, it's to protect their ego. Aggression, in some cases they might lash out, turning the tables to make you feel small, stupid, or overly critical. This is a tactic to regain control and distract from their own shortcomings. But here's the real question: why do we feel the need to tell them they're wrong in the first place? Sometimes it's about justice. We want to stand up for what's right. Other times it's about frustration. We're tired of their behavior and want them to take accountability. Both are valid feelings, but here's the truth. Telling a narcissist they're wrong rarely results in them changing their mind or their behavior. Instead, it usually escalates the situation and leaves us feeling drained. The second thing is we want to be a good steward. What to do instead? Now, does this mean we should always let narcissists believe they're right? Not at all. But the key is to approach the situation in a way that prioritizes our peace and avoids unnecessary conflict. Focus on your perspective. Instead of saying you're wrong, try framing it as here's how I see it. And this shifts the conversation from confrontation to sharing. It allows you to express your opinion without directly challenging theirs, which can reduce defensiveness. Instead of, that's not true, you're wrong. Try, I see it differently. From my perspective, this is what happened. Ask questions instead of making statements. Questions can be a powerful tool for encouraging self-reflection without making the other person feel attacked. Example, instead of you're wrong about how that project turned out, try what makes you feel so confident about that conclusion. Can we look at it together? Know when to walk away. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. If correcting them feels like a losing battle, it's okay to let go. You don't have to engage in every argument or prove every point. Your energy is better spent elsewhere. Why this matters. This isn't about tiptoeing around someone's feelings or letting them walk all over you. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose how you respond. By shifting the way you communicate, you can protect your peace while still standing in your truth. The next time you feel the urge to say, you're wrong, take a breath. Ask yourself, what's my goal here? If your goal is to create understanding or maintain your boundaries, there's almost always a way to do that without sparking unnecessary conflict. Because at the end of the day, your mental and emotional well-being isn't worth sacrificing just to prove a point. When we say, I don't care what you think, it often comes from a place of frustration, exhaustion, or even liberation. It's a declaration that we're done trying to please, explain, or seek approval. And for many of us, that's an important boundary to set. But when it comes to dealing with narcissists, this statement can have unintended consequences. To understand why, we need to dig deeper into how narcissists view relationships and themselves. Narcissists thrive on validation. It's like oxygen for their ego. They need to feel significant, admired, and most importantly, in control. When you say, I don't care what you think, you're cutting off their supply of validation and undermining the control they feel they have over the situation. For most people, a statement like this might signal the end of a conversation, but for a narcissist, it's more likely to escalate things. To them, your indifference feels like rejection, and rejection is one of their greatest fears. Why? Because rejection threatens their carefully constructed sense of superiority. How narcissists typically react. They double down. They might try even harder to assert their opinion, as if raising their voice or repeating themselves will force you to care. They attack. If they sense they can't win you over, they may shift to insults, accusations, or belittling remarks. This isn't about you, it's about their need to feel in control. They play the victim. Some narcissists will flip the script, accusing you of being cruel, dismissive, or disrespectful. They might even try to guilt you into re-engaging. The power of indifference. Here's the tricky part. You're allowed to not care. In fact, learning to detach from a narcissist's opinions and validation is one of the healthiest things you can do. But the way you express that indifference can make all the difference. Saying, I don't care what you think may feel satisfying in the moment, but it often invites more drama. Instead, consider how you can communicate your boundaries and independence in a way that preserves your peace. What to say instead. Acknowledge their perspective without agreeing. Narcissists crave recognition. Sometimes simply acknowledging their opinion without agreeing can diffuse tension. Example, instead of, I don't care what you think, try, I hear what you're saying, but I feel differently about this. Focus on your feelings. Shift the conversation from their thoughts to your own experience. Example, instead of, your opinion doesn't matter to me, try, this is what feels right for me, and I need to stick with it. And sometimes we end the conversation gracefully. Sometimes the best response is no response. Politely disengaging can be more powerful than declaring indifference. Mm-hmm. Example, instead of, I don't care what you think, just stop, try, I'm going to take some time to think about this. Let's revisit it later if needed. Why this matters. The words, I don't care what you think, are empowering because they signal that we're no longer willing to give someone power over us. But in the context of dealing with a narcissist, those words can provoke the very behavior we're trying to avoid. The goal isn't to appease them, it's to preserve your energy and protect your peace. By reframing how we communicate, we can set boundaries that stick without getting caught in a cycle of defensiveness or escalation. Remember, caring less about what a narcissist thinks doesn't mean you have to announce it. True indifference is a quiet strength. It's choosing to prioritize your well-being over their need for control, and doing so with calm, quiet confidence. So the next time you're tempted to say, I don't care what you think, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, how can I show that I'm standing firm without adding fuel to the fire? Because the most powerful thing you can do is hold on to your peace while holding your ground. No is one of the simplest yet most powerful words in our language. It's a complete sentence, a firm boundary, and an act of self-respect, all wrapped into one. But for narcissists, hearing the word no can feel like a challenge, a rejection, or even a personal attack. Why is that? Because for someone with narcissistic tendencies, no is more than a denial. It's a disruption of their control. Narcissists thrive on feeling powerful and influential. And when you say no, it reminds them that they can't dictate your actions or decisions. Why saying no is so difficult? Let's be honest, saying no to a narcissist isn't always easy. They have a way of making you feel guilty, selfish, or even foolish for setting a boundary. They might dismiss your no as invalid. You don't really mean that. And they might guilt trip you. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? Or they might escalate the situation, trying to wear you down with persistence or even anger. These tactics are designed to make you doubt yourself and reconsider your boundary. But here's the truth. Their reaction to your no isn't your responsibility. The power of saying no. When you say no, you're reclaiming your autonomy. You're reminding both yourself and the narcissist that your time, energy, and choices are yours to control. And that's an incredibly powerful thing. But here's the challenge. Narcissists often interpret no as a confrontation. They don't see it as a neutral statement or a healthy boundary. They see it as resistance they need to overcome. That's why it's important to deliver your no in a way that's clear, calm, and resolute. How to say no effectively. Be firm and direct. Avoid over-explaining or apologizing for your decision. A simple, confident no is often the most effective. For example, instead of, I'd really like to, but I just can't because I'm so busy right now. Try, no, that doesn't work for me. Use neutral language. Narcissists may try to twist emotional language to their advantage. Keep your tone calm and your words neutral. Example. Instead of, I can't believe you're asking me to do this. Try, I'm not able to do that. Repeat if necessary. Narcissists may push back, hoping you'll change your mind. Stand your ground by calmly repeating your no. Example, them, you're being ridiculous. Why can't you just do it? I've already said no. My decision is final. Detach from their reaction. A narcissist might react with anger, manipulation, or guilt. Remember, their response isn't about you, it's about their inability to handle boundaries. Stay firm and refuse to engage in arguments. Why saying no matters. Saying no is one of the most important skills you can develop when dealing with a narcissist. It teaches them that their control over you has limits, and it reinforces your sense of self-worth. But more importantly, saying no is an act of self-care. It's a reminder that your needs, time, and energy are valuable and deserve to be protected. Here's the truth, saying no won't always be easy. It might provoke backlash or even create temporary tension. But the long-term benefits, peace of mind, self-respect, and healthier boundaries are always worth it. So the next time you feel pressure to say yes when you mean no, take a moment to pause. Remind yourself that no is a complete sentence. And know that every time you choose to honor your boundaries, you're choosing to honor yourself. Few phrases cut deeper for a narcissist than the words, "You're not special." To most of us, being told this might feel like a challenge to our ego, but we can brush it off or reflect on it. For a narcissist, however, it's a direct hit to the core of their identity. Narcissists are often driven by a deep need to feel unique, extraordinary, and superior to those around them. This belief in their exceptionalism isn't just a preference, it's a shield they use to protect themselves from feelings of inadequacy, vulnerability, and insignificance. When you tell them you're not special, It threatens to shatter that shield. Hey, why narcissists struggle with this statement? Their identity is built on superiority. Narcissists often construct their self-worth around the idea that they are better, smarter, or more talented than others. You're not special directly contradicts this narrative, leaving them feeling exposed and defensive. It challenges their sense of control. For a narcissist, being seen as special often translates into having influence or power over others. When you deny their uniqueness, you also deny the importance of their control in your life. It feeds their deepest fear. Beneath their bravado, many narcissists harbor a fear of being ordinary or insignificant. You're not special touches this nerve, making it one of the most painful things they can hear. How narcissists typically react. When confronted with this statement, narcissists may react in one of the following ways. Defensiveness. They might immediately list their accomplishments, qualities, or unique traits in an effort to prove you wrong. Aggression. Some narcissists respond with anger or insults, aiming to shift attention away from their feelings of vulnerability. Dismissiveness. They may try to downplay your opinion, saying something like, "You don't know what you're talking about," to regain their sense of superiority.
Yeah.
The cost of telling them they're not special. While it might feel satisfying in the moment to say you're not special, it rarely leads to productive outcomes. Instead, it's likely to escalate tension and provoke negative behaviors. This isn't about avoiding confrontation to spare their feelings. It's about protecting your own peace and avoiding unnecessary drama. What to do instead? Focus on your experience. Instead of directly challenging their self-perception, redirect the conversation to your own needs or feelings. For example, instead of, "You're not as amazing as you think you are," try, "This isn't about comparing who's better. It's about what works for me right now." Set boundaries without devaluing them. You can reinforce your boundaries without engaging in a debate about their uniqueness. Example, instead of, "You're not special enough for me to prioritize you over everything else." Tribe, "I need to focus on my priorities right now, and this is what I've decided." Detach from the need to convince them. Narcissists are unlikely to accept your perspective if it challenges their sense of self. Rather than trying to change their view, focus on disengaging respectfully. Why this matters? Telling a narcissist they're not special won't change how they see themselves, but it will change how they see you. They may become more combative, manipulative, or dismissive, making it harder to maintain boundaries or have healthy interactions. Instead of attacking their sense of self, focus on protecting your own. You don't need to convince them of their flaws to assert your independence or maintain your peace. By choosing your words carefully and setting firm, clear boundaries, you can disengage from their need for validation without getting pulled into unnecessary conflict. Because at the end of the day, your energy is better spent building your own sense of worth than tearing down theirs. True strength isn't about proving someone wrong, it's about knowing when to walk away. Few statements strike a deeper chord with a narcissist than hearing, "I don't need you." For most of us, this phrase can feel like a clear declaration of independence, an empowering moment of self-reliance. But for a narcissist, these words cut to the heart of their deepest insecurities. Narcissists often build their identity around the idea of being indispensable. They want to be admired, depended on, and validated. When you tell them, "I don't need you," it's not just a rejection, it's a threat to the power and control they believe they hold in the relationship. Why narcissists struggle with this statement? It challenges their sense of importance. Narcissists thrive on being seen as essential. whether it's in a romantic, professional, or personal context. They want to feel like the glue holding everything together. "I don't need you" strips away that illusion. It evokes their fear of rejection. Beneath the narcissist's confident exterior often lies a deep fear of abandonment. Hearing that they're not needed can feel like the first step toward being discarded, which they desperately try to avoid. It undermines their control. A narcissist's sense of security often comes from the belief that others rely on them. When you declare your independence, it disrupts their ability to manipulate or influence you, leaving them feeling powerless. How narcissists typically react. When confronted with "I don't need you," narcissists might respond in several ways. Anger or aggression, they may lash out, accusing you of being ungrateful, selfish, or disloyal. Guilt-tripping narcissists often use emotional manipulation to regain control, such as saying, "After all I've done for you, how can you say that?" Or love bombing or flattery. To reassert their importance, they might suddenly become overly affectionate or complimentary, trying to draw you back into dependence. Dismissiveness. Some may act as though your statement doesn't matter, brushing it off with comments like, "I never thought you did anyway." The power of independence. Declaring that you don't need someone can be an empowering moment in any relationship, but it's especially critical when dealing with a narcissist. However, it's important to approach this with intention and strategy, as the delivery of your independence can either de-escalate the relationship dynamic or provoke unnecessary conflict. How to express independence without escalation. Reframe the statement. Instead of bluntly saying, "I don't need you," consider phrasing it in a way that emphasizes your growth and self-reliance. Example, instead of "I don't need you to handle this," tribe, "I've realized I can handle this on my own and it feels empowering." Focus on collaboration over rejection. Acknowledge their role while asserting your independence. This approach minimizes defensiveness. Example, instead of "You're not as important to me as you think you are." Tribe, "I've appreciated your support, but I'm in a place now where I can take the lead on this myself." Stay calm and confident. Narcissists are skilled at provoking emotional reactions. Deliver your statement with calm confidence, avoiding hostility or defensiveness. Detach from their reaction. Understand that their response, whether it's anger, guilt, tripping, or manipulation, is about their inability to handle boundaries, not about you. Stay grounded in your decision. Why this matters. Telling a narcissist, "I don't need you," can be a turning point in your relationship. It's a way of reclaiming your autonomy and reminding yourself that your worth isn't tied to their approval or presence. However, it's equally important to recognize that independence doesn't require confrontation. You don't have to announce your detachment for it to be valid. Often the most powerful expression of independence is in your actions, choosing to live your life authentically and confidently without relying on their input or validation. By shifting the focus from rejecting the narcissist to affirming your own strength, you can establish healthier boundaries without fueling unnecessary conflict. Because at the end of the day, independence is not about proving that you don't need them. It's about knowing that you are whole, capable, and worthy all on your own. As we've explored, phrases like "you're wrong," "I don't care what you think," "no," "you're not special," and "I don't need you" are more than just words. They're powerful statements that can disrupt the fragile dynamic of dealing with a narcissist. But with power comes responsibility, not for their reactions, but for how we choose to protect our peace and assert our boundaries. The key takeaway is this: Our words matter, not just for what they communicate to others, but for how they reflect our own strength and self-respect. When dealing with narcissists, the most effective approach isn't to fight their ego head-on, but to stand firm in your truth with calm, quiet confidence. You don't need to prove them wrong, convince them to care, or justify your boundaries. Your worth isn't defined by their opinion, your peace isn't theirs to disrupt, and your life isn't theirs to control. As you navigate these challenging interactions, remember this: every time you choose to honor your boundaries, you're choosing to honor yourself. And that choice, that's the ultimate power. Danielle.